Hi, welcome back to Cheesy Thumbprints, and in today's episode, we're going to take a look at 5 more nostalgic movies and TV shows that I've collected on Blu-ray or DVD box sets. These are 5 that I've chosen on top of the previous 5 that I've done that do bring back good memories for me watching these television shows with my family or at a certain time in my life. Now, right at the top, I do have an apology for you. The part 1 of this series that I did turned out to be about 41 minutes long, and I'm just so amazed, and I felt bad about it. I did it in individual clips. I pasted them all together, and that's what made them so long. So in this episode, I'm going to try to shorten that down a bit, but I'm so glad to have you back, and so let's get right into it and take a look at some of my 5 more favorite nostalgic DVDs and Blu-rays, which I hope you too as well have share in some of these things. Okay, in these shows. Right off the top, I am going to start with one of my faves, and this one is Firefly. Have you heard of this episode? It was done by produced by Joss, or whatever, created by Joss Whedon, and it only ran about over a season or two, like a long season, I think. There were a few episodes that weren't aired, but it's one of the best shows out there from the 90s, I believe. 90s, or was it early 2000s? Now, this I never checked. So, yeah, one of my favorite was Firefly, and it was basically, would you say, a little bit of a Western in space in a way, I suppose, but little light on the Western, more like folk. And so you had the captain and his crew here that went about. Basically, these guys were survivors of what they called the war that involved browncoats, and they were basically, I believe, the losing team. So they set about, collected each other. They're kind of a bit of a criminal element there, but very quirky and funny and very entertaining. And the stories are really well written, and the characterization is excellent. I mean, one of my favorite characters is Jane, and it's kind of a I don't know if you call it an interpolation, but it's like John Wayne shortened down to be Jane, and which I believe is I believe the actor's name is Adam Savage, if I remember correctly. But yeah, this is the complete series on DVD, and actually, Janestown happens to be one of my most favorite series episodes, where Jane goes back to a village that has mutters. Anyways, I guess you'd have to see the episode. And let's see if my memory. Okay, here we have Shepherd Book. The actor's no longer with us, sadly, and but I loved his character as well. He kind of gave the moral base for the crew and a bit of a counsel, just on good life counsel and stuff. Let's just see if this is a whoa. Okay, so the box set has four of these slim cover discs, and we have Zoe there on that cover, and there's Jane, and there's Cat and Mal, and I guess that's the main ones on the cover. Maybe they had intended to do more in the future, and they thought maybe they would they re-release these that have the other characters on there, like Jewel State. She plays one of my favorite characters on here too. Everything is shiny. So yeah, curse your inevitable betrayal, or your sudden but inevitable betrayal. So this is something that we watched as a family together, and we watch it often, even as the older kids come back to home. We just love this show. It was one of those shows that just wasn't long enough. It got canceled by Fox, and it just never came back. But the actors, they do still go to different conventions and meet people, and yeah. So that's a great set. If you ever see it somewhere, I really recommend you. And if you enjoy a space drama that is funny as well and can be touching at times, then try Firefly. Next up is a classic old show. Now, this show, I can't say that I began to see it obviously on Blu-ray because it didn't come out on Blu-ray first. It was on DVD, and I saw the original DVD release. And this one, actually, there's a nostalgic element to it, to the actual physical media itself, and that is the fact that this case came from my brother, who lives very, very far away, and I saw it, I believe it was years ago on Amazon. And this is the original Twilight Zone from the 60s, Rod Serling. I don't think you can beat it. There's been other interpretations, or there's been other series like The Outer Limits, that went on, and they did more and more past the 60s, and so did the Twilight Zone. They tried to kind of bring it back, and they do, and some of them haven't been too bad. There was in the 80s and the 90s, but the original and the best is the 1960s version with Rod Serling. So this is the Blu-ray, and it's great. The sound is amazing. When I put it in the Blu-ray player, I have to make sure that my volume is turned down because it is so sharp, really amazing. So what we have inside here is we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little Blu-ray packages, and this is what it's like. This is season 1, of course. The first few seasons, the show was a little longer. I think it was closer to an hour, and I do think it got cut back to a half hour in the last 2 seasons. But still, really good shows. Inside here, you'll see the discs are laid out as such, as you can see, with this leaf in here like that. And the menu, or there's actually a physical little menu in each little Blu-ray package, and this will show you what's on the menu with a little description, and sometimes it'll mention a key actor in the description as well. This booklet opens up. Yes, it's a little harder to follow a menu like this than, say, on streaming, but the one advantage you do have, if you do have a physical media, an actual physical thing like this, for one, it's never going to change. It's the streaming platform and the owners of it aren't going to edit or change your show based on the whims of the time. It will remain the same. So that's one of the cool things about having physical media. Now, if I can just get this booklet back in right, we'll move right on. There we go. It just slips in these little grooves, and you're good to go. But really high quality, really high. It's probably 5.0 for sound, I would think, because it just blows me away. But anyways, if you really want the specs, just look it up online. But for me, I loved watching the shows. I loved the fact that my brother had sent it to me, actually from the States is where it was, and I actually I got it cheaper, I think, on Amazon.com at the time and maybe it wasn't even available on Amazon.ca. I'm not sure. Now here's another one that goes it's about the same, in the 60s. You may have heard of Jerry and Sylvia Anderson, and often on this channel I will talk about one of my favorite productions of theirs, which is Space 1999. As cheesy as it may seem to some people, I really enjoy both seasons of Space 1999, but this is not that. This is basically, this was geared for more of a child's show, and it's Joe 90. And I'm not sure if you've ever heard of Joe 90, but it's a really cool show that I started to somehow watch it, and my wife saw it, and she just loved it so much that since then, it's a little bit of a cult fan favorite for her. I was blown away, but she just loves Joe 90. And basically they are puppets And this was a DVD box set, and there's a nostalgic element to me as well, just for the fact that I was walking by one day, probably on a break from work, and going through the mall where I worked, and I looked down and I saw all this, this kiosk or box or whatever of a DVD box sets on sale, and there was this Jerry Anderson production that I wasn't aware of because I hadn't really dwelled that much into his stuff other than Space 1999, and I knew of UFO, UFO, and I eventually did, but we'll do another video on that. Anyway, Joe 90 is basically an older boy, young man, whatever, who has the ability to do spy missions by having these high-tech glasses that when he puts these glasses on and he sits in this sort of a large sphere apparatus in the laboratory, that he can actually have downloaded everything he needs. Like if he wants to be a pilot of a fighter jet, then all that can be downloaded into these glasses, and there's some kind of cerebral hookup, I guess, not a real physical thing. They don't really get into it that much, but it's very entertaining. And it's from the 60s, and he carries out all kinds of different missions. Oh, and then there's a mention in here as well. I would like to mention probably one of a really sweet episode. I mean, this is fun and entertaining. Sometimes, yes, you can see the little strings, the puppets, but that's the way it was, and amazing. But anyways, one of the more favorite shows that are in here, and it doesn't matter if you're much into Christmas or how you see Christmas. But there's one here called, I think it's let's see, it's on disc 1, so it's actually in the first season of it, or whatever, and it's called The Unorthodox Shepherd, and that is a great little Christmas story. It'll warm your heart, and the little sets that they build, and that whole sort of holiday feeling that comes over of magic and love is there in that episode. So I just want to mention that episode, as well as this just generally being entertaining. I love it when a series kind of goes off script a little bit and does something nice and tender and warm to cheer your heart. So if you ever see Joe 90, this is a DVD collection. I believe you can get it in the UK now in Blu-ray, but only for region B or 2, sadly. I haven't found it for region A, where I am in North America. So that's Joe 90, and it's a really cool little entertaining show. All right, we're going to move right on, and let's see. What is another one? This would be what? 1, 2, 3. This would be number 4. Number 4 is this box set right here. Now, it's not so much the box set itself that is nostalgic for me as it is the show. This is Battlestar Galactica, the definitive collection. So I thought I'd just bring the box set. This is not too old. This just came out, well, not too long ago, within the last 5 years, I think. And you can get an ultimate collection, and I can't remember why, but the definitive collection is actually better. I did the research, and I don't know why, but I don't know if it's because it includes a little something extra in here. I can't remember. But in this box set, you have the original series of Battlestar Galactica, and I think I mentioned this on the show before. Yeah, the original series in here, with Lauren Green playing Adama, and Apollo is played by, you know. Yeah, I just forgot his name. He had passed away kind of at a young age. It was, Dirk Benedict did Starbuck. He plays Starbuck, and Richard Hatch played Apollo. So this is really cool. It includes the movie version, I believe, as well in this. These are Blu-ray discs. Now, what you get in this collection is you get the original, and it's the full frame, 3x4, whatever version that you would have watched on your TV back in the mid-70s, 77. This show came out on the trail, 78, I think, the trail of the success of Star Wars in 1977, and it was the attempt to keep the ball rolling and interest with what was happening in the science fiction field. So what you also get here, a lot of people do complain about it, but they've included it in the definitive collection, and it's a widescreen version. And you have to watch these because a lot of times, even though it's nice to have a second copy of your show, your favorite show, in order to get it to be wide version, widescreen, sorry, they do sometimes crop off the top to get a more of a letterbox look. You have to lose a little bit. So there are scenes. I saw one scene, for example, where Commander Ty and Adama, they are up on the control platform or whatever they call it, and another actor, probably it was Apollo or somebody, was down below, and you could see that in the comparison between the widescreen and the full frame, the two in the background basically were cut off at the shoulders up. But if you saw the full screen, so you got to see it wider. So some people like to see a wider version on their TV, and that satisfies those two black ends on either side. But you do sometimes lose a little bit, on the top or bottom to make that up. They also included in this, which I never saw originally on TV, but it is Galactica 1980. Now, there's supposed to be an episode on here where Starbuck actually returns. I watched the first 2 episodes, I think, and they're not bad. They're not bad. I mean, it's not like the same as good. They go back to Earth, and there's like flying motorbikes. It's a little different, but it's kind of neat if you really like to go back and see what planet Earth looks like in the 70s. It is kind of neat to see what, because I grew up, that was my, the mid 70s is basically where I look back to the science fiction that I was exposed to, like, Star Trek, the original series, Space 1999, Battlestar Galactica, Bionic Man, Bionic Woman, shows like that is what we had. And to just see like even the type of cars that they're driving and the office settings and whatever, it's kind of neat. Kind of takes you back. It really does. I miss those days. So yeah, Battlestar Galactica, the definitive collection, is pretty cool, nostalgic collection. Now I do have something else that I picked up. It was very interesting. This is of a different genre, not sci-fi, but we're going back in time. Oh, I did it again. Kind of tight corners right here. And it is the Monster Legacy DVD collection, which I believe is put out by Universal. I'm not sure if you guys have seen this, but it showed up in the DVD store where I worked at the time, and I have not had these statuettes, figurines, whatever, statues, busts, out of this box since probably 2000, and I'm guessing 4 or 5, probably close to when this was released. And I got a discount. If I remember right, I got all of this, I think, for $35 at cost. I think that's what I don't remember for sure. It has a little sun panel in it there for the light gets let down. Very cool. You have Lon Chaney Jr. as the Wolfman, and you have Bela Lugosi as Dracula, and Boris Karloff as Frankenstein. So these are the classic Universal characters 3. Now, what it comes with, when you bought it, you wouldn't see right through it, as you can see in this package. It comes with little DVD sets. Oh, let me just show you on the back here, just so you can see. So it's an amazing collection. I have it on the shelf. I like to show it off. There it is. And I don't know, I'm the type of person, I like to kind of leave things in their packages. So I've never taken out these guys from that styrofoam or that foam setting that almost looks a bit like cement or concrete. And sorry for the little reflecting light there. But let's take a look at what's actually included. What's actually included in that Legacy series. Sometimes you can still pick them up. Sometimes they're still floating around out there, and you can pick them up and get them at a really low price. But you have in it the Legacy collection, which went with that box set, as I said, had Dracula with Bela Lugosi, and inside you have all what's really cool, even the Spanish version, I think from 1930, what was it, 33? Can't remember. So this also includes the Spanish version of Dracula 1931, Dracula's Daughter 1936, Son of Dracula 1943, and House of Dracula. Van Helsing director Stephen Sommers, that's cool, hosts an exclusive behind-the-scene look at how these original Dracula films inspired his motion picture. I did like. A lot of people didn't like Van Helsing, but I liked it for what it was. And I remember Stephen Sommers dedicated that movie to his father, if I remember correctly. Okay, so we have there's a lot of extras on here, features. There's the Road to Dracula, film historian David J. Skal, I think that's his name, Dracula original poster and photo gallery, newly remastered audio track for maximum clarity. So since there's so many in this collection, I'm not going to open each one, but just to give you an idea, it has that little, see that? It's a plastic cover with a painting on each one, and it gives it a kind of a 3D effect. And you bring it out like this, and inside you have, I'm not sure, we're running at 21 minutes, guys, and I don't know if you really want me to show you every single one at the back, but that's what you get inside. And even the menu screen, when the menu screen is playing, I have used the menu screens just at Halloween for there's like, you can hear like thunder, you can hear the thunder and the crashes of lightning sounds, and you can hear like just wolves, and it makes great, ambiance music for Halloween time or horror. So they just slip back in this like this. There's also a little card in there as well that shows you the movies that are in it. And I am going to very quickly show you the other ones that's included in that Legacy series. You have the Mummy with Boris Karloff. And again, it's not just the Mummy. You have, sometimes they do tend to stick a little bit. Just give them a little shake to get them started. And yeah, you have the Mummy 1932, the Mummy theatrical trailer, Mummy Dearest, A Horror Tradition on Earth. So there's tons of stuff. And then on disc 2 side 1 and disc 2 side 2, you have the Mummy's Hand, the 1940, the Mummy's Hand theatrical trailer, the Mummy's Tomb theatrical trailer. And then on disc 2 side 2, you have the Mummy's Ghost and the Mummy's Curse, and then the theatrical trailers as well. So I think that's so neat. This is such a cool, and look at that. The art, the feeling. This is a heavy gloss on each one, so it's very well protected. You could probably spill water on it, and if you didn't leave it too long, you would be, you'd be able to wipe it up. So there you go. It's like the main movie has the painted image on it, and then the other features and extra movies are on a clean, no painted disc, which probably will last longer than the painted one. So they say. In there you also have Creature from the Black Lagoon, and not just the creature. I think, well, if you like the Creature from the Black Lagoon, if you're like me, I actually like the movie I like better is the second one, I believe, and it's the Revenge of the Creature. Was that the second one? Yeah, I like the Revenge of the Creature even better. I mean, there is something to be said for seeing the very first one first time, but it seemed like there was something about the Revenge of the Creature, almost the same way the Wrath of Khan in the Star Trek movies kind of went back to being more like that feeling, had the better feeling to it, or whatever that was like on the TV shows. Anyways, I don't know what I'm saying. The Creature Walks Among Us, the Creature Walks Among Us theatrical trailer, and there are features, so that's cool too. And again, it's really hard, very shiny, as you can probably see, glossy, cover. You have the Wolfman, Lon Chaney Jr. Let's take a look-see. And a little slip there. You see how you can see him better there. And that's cool too, because in here included is you also have the Werewolf of London, 1935. Frankenstein meets the Wolfman, 1943, and the She-Wolf of London, 1946. And you do have Van Helsing director Stephen Sommers hosts an exclusive behind-the-scenes look at how these original classics inspired his motion picture. So there's kind of a little bit of duplication there, but for the most part, they're all a bit different. You can actually buy these individually, like you see that barcode. But when they did it, they put it into this really cool classic collection. Let's see, which can we get you? Whoop, going the wrong way. There, you get to see a little bit that way. So you have that, and there's also in there Frankenstein. Yeah, isn't that cool? Well, you know what? I made a mistake. Because in that Legacy series, I got a little confused here for a second. So please forgive me. You have Frankenstein. I'll explain in a second. You have Frankenstein 1931, Bride of Frankenstein, which again, like the second creature, is my favorite. You have The Son of Frankenstein, The Ghost of Frankenstein, and The House of Frankenstein 1944. Really cool. You can see the photo on the back there. And it's the same. You got a painted disc and two things. Okay, my mistake was to tell you guys that you got all those in that Legacy collection. You don't. In that collection, you have, like, I had to buy the creature separate from that. And I believe also, lastly, the Invisible Man. So the other ones, Dracula, Frankenstein, and, geez, I don't remember the Mummy. Give me a second here. Let's get this straight. What we have in this one is the Frankenstein collection, the Dracula collection, and the Wolfman. And what I did was add to the collection by getting Creature from the Black Lagoon and the Invisible Man. The Invisible Man, that's Claude Rains, I believe. Another classic movie you could see sometimes playing on the weekends. The Invisible Man, 1933. And you have The Invisible Man Returns in 1940 and The Invisible Woman, plus some trailers. You can hear the glue cracking on the inside there. But yeah, I'm sorry to have led you astray on that. You don't get all 5 in the collection. You get 3, and then I actually picked up the other ones individually. Okay, that's about closes us off for this episode. It's great to have you here. I just wanted to mention as well, since we mentioned the Stephen Sommers film, you can get sort of in the same vein as those Universal Legacy series, the actual Van Helsing movie, which was made, 2005, I think? And, okay, we get out of the package. Ended up having 2 copies of this, believe it or not, just because I was able to get one really inexpensive. Now, what's cool, if you ever find a Van Helsing collection, you get the movie, but you get all the basic Universal Monster movies in this collection. So I'll show you. That's what makes it so cool. Also, there's special features in here. Explore Dracula's Castle, play the Van Helsing game, feature commentaries, explore Frankenstein's lab. I've checked all those out in the past. They're really cool. And you also get in here the original films that inspired Van Helsing. That's really cool. You get Dracula, Frankenstein, and the Wolfman. Let me show you. Boy, oh boy, I think I'm taking too long today. So inside the box, in this DVD, this is a DVD set, you have Van Helsing on the movie. I also have Van Helsing, as you'll see in another episode previous, that I have it on Blu-ray, and it's really cool on 4K. So you have the movie, you have the special features on another one, and you also have this bonus disc that has the 3 other movies, the original ones from Universal, original monsters, the 3 basic guys. And just to close off, I'll mention this. I've been getting some of the 4Ks of the classic Universal monsters in this little box sets. They are really good. I will caution you that in one I did get, okay, this one has the 8, sort of the 8 basic ones. Well, let's see if we can get this in here just right. Got too much shine going on there. All right, so you got Dracula, Frankenstein, the Invisible Man, Wolfman, Mummy, and you've got Creature from the Black Lagoon. And what else we got there? Bride of Frankenstein. That's a good one. That's one of my favorites. Well, I just said that, yeah. And we have The Phantom of the Opera. Yeah, I think that's the one with Claude Rains as well. Anyway, I would make one mention. If you do pick this up, they're usually kind of pricey, the 4Ks. This is just a 4K only. I didn't think I needed the 4K plus Blu-ray because I was thinking that, I've got the DVD. I got a lot on the DVD. This one comes in 2 little sets like this. The 4K does. And I will say, I'm not sure. When I watched Creature from the Black Lagoon, tell me what you guys think if you watch it. It's almost like it was a little too detailed, and I could see, like, there was so much detail that in the background you could almost see the set, like the set itself there when they were going in the cave scene. And I don't know, is 4K always the best? Because you do like to have a little bit of atmosphere around to make you think that, to make it more believable, a little more suspension of disbelief, and just that kind of that atmosphere you get. But I found the other ones, and I found it too that with the Bride of, not the Bride, sorry, with the Creature from the Black Lagoon, there was scenes where they were standing on the boat, and sometimes it would be really sharp, and then sometimes it would be almost a little snowy, and yeah, like you could see the texture, the film grain, that kind of thing. So that's it for today. Those are my 5. Joe 90, Firefly, Joe 90, the Twilight Zone, 60s version, and Battlestar Galactica, and the Legacy Horror Collection. So you guys, that's it for these 5 nostalgic DVD and Blu-ray box sets. So we'll see you in the movies. Thanks for watching.